Stott and Joe Wilson are going to be performing this for us. First of all, I'd like to read you a short introduction which has been written by the author. This play takes a look at the events of the Last Supper from the standpoint of a cook and a waiter. Now here we have two characters that fail to appear in any of the Gospel accounts, even though logic would appear to dictate that if a meal was served, then someone must have cooked it, and before any meal is consumed, someone has to serve the diners. Right from the start, I made a conscious decision to set this play in a recognisable present, rather than an attempt at an authentic recreation of first century Palestine. My aim here was to make the story as accessible as possible to a modern audience, and since the situation then, a country unstable and full of conflict, the land occupied, or at least controlled by a foreign power, with its inhabitants all yearning for some kind of deliverance, was not so far removed from many present-day examples. Our tale takes place in just such a country, with the occupying force, who of course stand for the Romans, referred to simply as peacekeepers. Our two protagonists, the cook and the waiter, represent a local man and an outsider. The cook is clearly a religious man, well informed with the traditions and aspirations of his people, but also, as we shall see, something of an outcast. The waiter is an outsider. He's quite prepared to tolerate his colleagues' Holy Joe ways, provided he doesn't try to push them down his throat. He represents an outsider's point of view. The actions of this play take place late one night in a restaurant dining room. A table for 13.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, no, please come again. Yeah, mind how you go. Thank you. Cheapskates. Right, come on, give me under this lot. If we get it all cleared up in time, we can get away before curfew.
Forward again.
Well, what do you expect? I mean, the city's full of pilgrims, everyone's on edge. There's peacekeeper drinks on every street corner.
You've got passes.
Yeah, fat little good they'll do us. No, I'm stopping here. You can do what you like, but I'm staying.
We best make ourselves at home then.
Yeah. That's the spirit. A fine vintage, sir. Go for a glass?
So, what were they like then at table for 13?
I'm surprised you got any cooking done with the amount of peering you were doing around there.
You saw that then?
Yeah. I mean, they were, you know, with some of your lot.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you know, they were just some of your lot.
Says the man with no belief.
No. I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I believe in absolutely nothing.
Come on, come on, I need to know.
What? Wasn't there a riot in that temple of yours the other week?
That was no riot.
Well, I heard a guy trashed the place.
Look, have you ever actually been to the Holy Temple?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, us Holy Joes go there all the time to pray and to make sacrifices.
But what's the point?
Well, look, it's part of our religion, but we're not allowed to take any peacekeeper money inside.
So?
So you buy your sacrifice. If you're rich, it's an ox. If not, it's a lamb or a dove.
Fancy that. Shop and pray.
Look, when you see special coins, the temple money changers rip us off. The dove sellers are on the move too.
And the priests?
Turn a blind eye.
But I thought you lot did what your priest said.
Now that's something new you've learned today, isn't it?
So, alright, so what's wrong with peacekeeper money? I mean, they take it all over town.
Alright, look, show me a coin. Okay. And who's that?
That's their emperor. They worship him like a god.
There is only one God, and we worship him. Listen, we had a great country here back when those peacekeeper lots were still hitting each other over the head with rocks.
Oh, here we go. The land God gave
And
us.
so he did.
Yeah. About a lot of good it's done you, though. Occupied, invaded, with foreign troops on every street corner just to stop you lot killing each other.
Yeah, it didn't used to be like that. We made a pact with God. We would worship him alone, and in return he gave us this land.
Yeah, but what good did it do you?
Look, over the years he sent us messengers, prophets. They tried to put things right.
Yeah, didn't have much luck, did they?
And then there was the prophecy.
Huh? There's always a prophecy.
Look, they said that God would send us a Messiah. He would lead his people and make things right.
Okay. So what?
I saw his birth.
Now this I have to hear.
Oh, okay, it must have been about 30 years ago now. I was working out in the sticks with some shepherds, right?
But no, but you're a cook.
What, you think that shepherds just pop down to the local takeaway, do you?
Alright, I get it.
Massive flock, right? Owned by the temple we were, right?
Oh, owned by the temple? Holy shepherds? Sounds like a cushy number.
And that's where you're wrong. It was the worst job I have ever had.
Why's that?
Well, our priest said that people weren't going to the temple enough, and that's why everything was going wrong.
Right.
Well, shepherds don't exactly have much time to go to the temple, do they? They're out in the sticks all day, every day.
Well, but don't they let you in?
Oh, they let you in. But then you're treated like dirt. It's stand behind that pillar top.
Harsh.
So those peacekeepers had just ordered a census, right? And people were going back to the place of their birth.
But not the shepherds.
Well, nobody cared about us. So we were out in the sticks, keeping a lookout for some wolves, and someone said, fancy a brew young'un, and of course I fell for it.
Fell for it.
Well, yeah, we were up at the top of the hill and the water was down the bottom. Yeah, so there I was. I was climbing down this hill to get the water, and all of a sudden there was this light at the top.
Light.
Yeah, and blinding light, and music as well.
Music.
Yeah, no, honestly. So I had to see what was going on. So I'm trying to get back up the hill and trying to see what's going on. I'm running, falling over on all fours, any way I can just to get to the top. And then just before I got to the top, it all just faded back to night again.
What did you see?
Well, everyone was just sat around the fire, right? Nobody said a word, and then everyone spoke at once. And they said angels. Right? There were 6 of them. Another said, no, there was 20.
Well, angels. With the long, white dresses and the wings stuck to their backs. But the other one has got bells on.
Look, in our language, it means God's messenger. Right? They can look like anyone, me or even you.
Me or you? Sorry, carry on.
Alright, well, no one seemed quite sure about the exact number, but they all said they heard the same message. He's born, they kept saying. Our Messiah, born this very night. We've got to go and worship him. I said, you've got to be having a laugh. But no, they were adamant. They were absolutely certain. I could see it in their eyes. So I said, fine, alright, whatever. Where? And they told me, and I thought, okay. I said, that place, alright, is so poor that even the rats leave. But they were absolutely adamant. So, off we went.
And you found the child?
Oh yeah, like I said, because of that census, people were crammed in everywhere. Anywhere with a roof was full of people. So there was this inn, well, it called itself an inn, or a doss house really. But look, the place was so packed that people were actually staying in the shed out back that they used to keep the animals in.
Alright, so what did you see?
Alright, there was this young couple, right? They both looked completely whacked out. She must have given birth not much more than an hour before. And she was just holding this little baby boy in her arms, and I thought, this can't be him. This can't be our Messiah. He's so small, he's so tiny, but he he reached out and he grabbed my finger with his little hand, and I don't know, I just knew at that point that he was our Messiah, you know, and that everything was going to be different.
And then what?
Oh, we said a prayer, called for God's blessing on the young couple, and off we went. I mean, they all seemed to know, you know, what was going on, but nobody seemed to take any notice. Like I said, the place was packed.
Then what happened?
Well, none of the shepherds had really had much time for going to the temple, you see. But now, you couldn't keep them away. They were always there, they were always praising God and always telling everyone about the Messiah.
Well, that made your priests happy.
Yeah, too right. I mean, they were all common shepherds talking about the Messiah, that was their job.
But I thought the priests had been all, like, you know, up on religion.
And then we all got laid off. Downturn in the market, they said. Still see a lot of the old lot about now and then, but, well, they're all getting on a bit now, aren't they?
So what happened with the child?
Well, nobody knew anything. And then, it must have been about 3 years ago now, the Messiah talk started up again. There was a man named John.
Oh, no, wait, I remember. Did they call him the baptizer?
That's the one. People started saying that this was the man.
Yeah, no, he dressed up all wild, didn't he?
Like one of our old-time prophets. Hundreds used to come and hear him preach, and that message was always the same. God's messenger has arrived. Repent while you still can. Get yourself right with God.
Sounds powerful stuff. Then what happened?
Well, he had no time for any of the priests, you see. He called them all a bunch of snakes.
But that made him popular in our place.
Yeah, I'll say. If you confessed your sins, then John baptised you. If you didn't, he gave you a right place. And you know, he even had to go at our king once.
Yeah. Got him executed, didn't it?
Oh, John. Always spoke his mind. And then one day someone came forward asking to be baptised. This bloke stepped forward and John refused.
One of your priests, was he?
Nothing like that, no. He steps forward and he asks to be baptised, and John just falls to his knees and he says, "This is the man I've told you of. I am not even worthy to tie his shoelaces." And people started, you know, asking what's going on, but the man insisted, so John baptised him, and as he did, there was this sound like thunder. People said that was a sign from God.
So what happened with this stranger?
Well, he got a group of followers together and they went around talking and teaching.
About what?
They talk about God, how people ought to treat one another, and loads about something he called the kingdom of heaven. And what with one thing or another, that ticked a load of people off. See, first he ticked off the priests, and when they tried arguing, he just ran rings around them.
Yeah, but I thought they would have been well versed in religion.
Well, they knew all the words, but that's all it was to them. Just words, and you could feel it in here, you know. And then, of course, it was the turn of it was the politicians. Oh, the true Messiah, they said. He'd support our policies, and of course, when he didn't, they disowned him.
Yeah, never trust a politician.
Yeah, and then finally he ticked off the posh people. Oh, we can't be doing with him, they said. He keeps company with prostitutes and petty crooks and people with diseases. Why, he even spends time with the poor.
Popular chap, this Messiah.
You know, he even managed to get up the nose of the zealots.
What, burn the wheel, save the bomb, man.
And they're the ones. They said, if you're the Messiah, you ought to lead us in a revolution.
So not the Messiah they were expecting, then?
Well, no, he told them, he said that my kingdom is not of this world. He wasn't interested in politics, you see. He wanted to change the way that people thought about one another.
I don't get it.
Look, he always said that, you know, you treat others as you would want to be treated. You treat your neighbour as yourself.
Yeah, well, who's my neighbour?
Anyone. It doesn't matter race, colour, creed. When people start believing that, that's a revolution of a very different kind.
So then what happened?
Well, we still want the peacekeepers out, right?
Yeah.
But those of us, most of us, alright, those of us with any sense
Yeah.
can see what would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a world power. They would walk all over us.
Yeah, you say that now.
Well, yeah, but at least we're still breathing. I mean, those zealots don't care who gets hurt. They just want to smash things up no matter what. Not exactly the Messiah they were expecting. I mean, they were all about revolution, taking down the system and things like that. And he's, you know, saying, treat others as yourself, forgive your enemies. And
Forgive your enemy? Forgive your enemies? But that's just plain daft.
well, That's what he meant by the kingdom of God, a place where everyone behaved that way.
But that's just cracked. I mean, how can anyone possibly manage it?
Well, he did. And he got his followers to do so and all. And you know what?
What?
He even took a zealot as a disciple, put him in charge of the finances as well. I reckon that showed a sense of humour. Then there were the miracles.
Miracles?
We cured the sick.
Oh yeah, we got doctors that can do that.
Alright, he once fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes.
Wow. They must have been really small portions. Are you sure it wasn't loaves and whales? I mean, come on, right? You're a cook, yeah? You know exactly how much food it would take to feed that many people. You can't believe this rubbish.
I do, because I was there.
Well, go on, what happened?
Everywhere the Messiah went, people would follow. And of course, after a while, the city wasn't a safe place anymore.
Well, how do you mean?
Oh, you know, priests, temple officials, the politicians, everyone was running stories back to them peacekeepers.
But why? I thought you said all this guy wanted to do was change men's hearts.
Yeah, and so he did, but, you know, they convinced them that he wanted to lead them in a revolution or whatever. So there we were. We followed him out into the sticks. He explained our holy books in a way I had never experienced before. Sometimes he'd walk amongst the crowd, talking to, you know, everyone in general, and sometimes he'd focus on 1 or 2 people.
Well, how long did that go on for?
That's just a thing. He lost track of time sitting there. And then suddenly it's late and everyone's hungry and we're miles out in the sticks and there's nowhere to buy any food. And this boy walks up to him and he hands the Messiah a bag. It must have been lunch or something that his mum packed for him. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes.
Right, and then what happened?
Well, he just calls out in a loud voice, "This boy has given me all he has, and now we're going to share it."
And that food fed 5,000 people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is bunk!
Of course, some folk, you know, reckoned that others had brought food and didn't want to say anything or were too embarrassed, and when that boy stepped up, they felt ashamed.
I still say it's bunk.
You're a hard man to please. Doesn't getting 5,000 people to stop behaving like selfish idiots count like a miracle any day of the week?
Okay, right, so what happened to this 5,000?
Alright, so it all led to this meal, alright? Because 1,000 years ago, our people were in slavery. And with God's grace, we escaped. So every year we sit down to eat this meal and give thanks for our liberty.
Yeah, so you're not really free, are you?
Well, the prophecies always said that this would be the time that he'd return. And that's why it's so important that he rode that donkey into the city the other week.
Wait, no, I read about that on the news. They said that fundamentalists had staged the whole thing. There was an appeal for information.
Look, did he ride in on a white horse? Was he standing on top of a tank? Did he lead an army? No, he simply rode in on the back of a common donkey. That was his way of saying that his kingdom will be one based on peace, on war and bloodshed.
But, wait, no, as far as they're concerned, we've had a bunch of terrorists in here tonight. Oh, the boss is going to have our guts for garters.
Boss may have been in on it.
I have nothing to say.
Well, didn't it strike you as odd that we only had one large booking in tonight?
I stopped trying to make sense of your lot years ago.
Alright, so that other week, when I went out to get another crate of water, even though we had loads in stock,
Yeah, well, I thought we were just bunking off.
and so I'm assuming that you noticed the 2 men that came in behind me when I returned and made the booking for tonight?
No, I didn't.
Behold the man who never misses a thing!
Alright, now who's taking the mick?
Oh, you really do deserve it sometimes. Anyway, the Messiah and his followers wanted somewhere safe to eat their Thanksgiving supper. We were in on it. We just weren't sure if you could be trusted.
Charming! Who was I going to tell?
In the beginning, right, people just thought that this guy was going to be a leader. Right? But as soon as he started teaching, you could tell that he was something far, far greater. Some people thought it was John come back to life. Others thought that it was one of our prophets reincarnated. Mostly he just called himself the Son of Man. And then one day, one of his followers just comes right out with it and says it. He says, "You are Christ, the Son of God."
Son of God, eh? I should put in for a pay rise.
So come on. You said you promised you'd tell me what would happen. So come on, tell me all about it.
Alright, so it's late, right? And table for 13 come in, and they were all looking at this one guy. I mean, he was their leader. You could see that just by the way they were looking at him. And there was this atmosphere. You could cut it with a knife. So this leader, right? They're all just watching him. And as he's talking, their expressions change. I mean, sometimes fearful, sometimes hopeful. And then he pulled the towel dodge on me.
Sorry, the towel dodge?
Yeah. Well, I know your customs well enough, right? So Mr. Big holds a dinner, all the guests arrive, and then up steps the menial, that's me, right? With some warm water and soft towel, and he washes his feet, for which I get a handsome tip. Well, so chap comes up to me and says, "Can I have that towel, please?" And I gives it over, thinking, all right, he wants to see how soft it is. And then he takes it, and before I can say knife, he's down on his knees, and he's washing all of his followers' feet.
He washed his own followers' feet?
Yeah, and I lost my tip.
Alright, how did they react to that?
Well, they were puzzled. And then one of them, oh, real loudmouth this one was, right? He says, "Oh no, master, you cannot wash my feet." And then he turns to him, and the reply goes, "Unless I wash your feet, you cannot enter my kingdom."
How do you take that?
I mean, you know, had to have the last word, didn't he? He said, "Oh, in that case, master, wash me all over."
So what did he have to say about all of that?
Well, he just kind of carried on, really. I mean, anyway, the food came out. I mean, you know about that. You cooked it.
Yeah, roast lamb, bitter herbs, sauce, and special wine.
Yeah. And then there was this almighty row that broke out between two of them. And they were saying, "Oh, master, master, when your glory comes, we want to sit at your right and left hand."
And what did he say to that?
Well, he just kind of looked at them. And then he said, "My kingdom is not of this world." I mean, you can see from their expressions that they just missed the point. And then there was this third one, sat over there. And, I mean, he came alive when they were talking about power and glory. And then, when he heard the reply, his face just went dead. Like he'd seen his last chance for power just disappear. And that he was faced with this decision that he really did not want to make.
Sounds like the zealot to me.
Yeah. So anyway, where was I? So the bread came out, and the sauce, and they're all dipping their bread in this sauce.
Yeah.
And then the leader stands up and says, "Tonight, one of you here will betray me."
Hang on, which one? Who?
Well, that's what they were all shouting. "What, me, master? Oh, no, not me." And then the leader says, "The one who dipped his bread in this sauce, he is the one."
The zealot? Well, how do you react?
Well, he just got really quiet. And then the leader kind of said, very, very quietly over to him, he says, "Go and do what you have to do, and do it quickly." So then the zealot jumps up and runs out like the very devils were after him. He knocked over that chair. But you know the weird thing? None of the others even noticed it. They just carried on. Yeah. And then the leader, he stands up and says, "In a while, I shall have to leave you."
Leave them?
Yeah. And Loudmouth pops up and says, "Oh no, master, you cannot leave. I will stand by your side to the end."
And how do you say that?
Well, the leader turns to him, just looks him dead in the eyes and goes, You will betray me 3 times by cockcrow."
A second betrayal?
Yeah.
Or did he keep on blustering?
No, that shut him up real quick. So then, you know, they're carrying on. Atmosphere changed a bit by then.
Of course.
And he says, Soon, you will not see me anymore, but then you will see me again.
Not see me, and then you will see me. What's that all supposed to mean?
I don't know. No one seemed to get it.
Didn't anyone ask?
There are some questions you do not ask. So then, leader, you take some bread, and he breaks a bit off and eats some. And he says, "This is my body, broken for you."
His body?
Yeah. And then he passes it around, and everyone has some. And then he grabs a glass of wine, and he says, "This is my blood, shed for you." And again, he passes it around, and again, everyone has some. And then he says to them all, "Love one another as I have loved you." And he was talking about his death, I'm sure of it. And some of them even caught on.
So, that was it? Nothing else?
I mean, pretty much, yeah. They did sing a chant, or at least it sounded like it, and then they filed out, and yeah, I said my goodbye, thank you, please come again, and well, that's when you came out.
Oh, what did all of it mean?
I don't know. But we shall not see this wine again. I've talked too much and now I'm dry. Stick that radio on, will you? It can't pass the time.
You know some little places to go to where they never close. Downtown, just listen to the rhythm of the generals in the crowd.
We interrupt this program with an important announcement. Within the last hour, Imperial peacekeepers, aided by local defense forces, have arrested Jesus, a known terrorist leader. He was brought immediately before the state and temple authorities for interrogation and sent for trial under Section 11 of the State Security Act. It is thought his followers are still at large, and the public are urged to report anything.
Well, that's your Messiah done for then. You know as well as I do how those state trials will end. It's a done deal. You're dead.
But the Son of God goes to his death, and that means nothing.
I don't know. In 3 days' time, that poor sap will be dead, buried, and forgotten, and you and I will come to work, and the world will go on just like it always has.
In a while you will not see me, and then you will see me. You will not see me, and then you will see me. Do you know what I think is amazing?
What?
You've been out here the whole night. You've seen the whole thing beginning to end,
Yeah.
and you still don't get it.
We'll thank Nick and Joe in the usual way at the end of the service. I'm going to take a few moments